What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Fansproject WB004 Revolver core, which is better known as Roadbuster. And I was real excited when the pre-orders went up for this guy. I was really disappointed to not get him when everybody else seemed to be getting him. But yeah, he's here now, and I couldn't be happier. Well, that's not true. I suppose I could be happier. But overall, I do like this. I think it's another solid Fansproject entry. Doesn't really roll. Some people don't like that. There's no wheels on these back treads. Personally, I don't really care. His front bumper is made out of guns. He's so awesome that he's holding his guns in his hands to form his front bumper. I mean, what kind of crazy man wields his guns as a bumper? Pretty crazy. Now, I will say he kind of has what I like to call Masterpiece Rodimus problem. And that is, with the way things peg in here is really tough, and I feel like if things aren't completely 100% right, you kind of get some gaps, and you can see my windshield loves to split apart, and so does the center hood piece. And I can push it down, and it seems to click in place, and I'll push it down, and it'll stay like that for a real long time. And then, yeah, just like move something, and next thing I know, it's popped itself apart like that again, which is a little bit of a downfall there. This is his little core guy. He's pretty cool. I can't argue with anyone who says that this gap's a little big compared to steel core. It definitely wasn't there, so I'm not sure exactly what happens that caused this to come apart so much. Maybe it's just the plastic kind of warped a little, but really, not that big of a deal. And he is different from steel core, or core, or whatever he's called. All the molding on the side is a bit different, and he's got a completely different head sculpt. I'll bring core out here in a little bit to show you. And he does, of course, sit inside Roadbuster, which is really nice to have that little extra driver. So for some size comparisons here, I pulled the usual. Here's your Classics Bumblebee, and you can see just massively bigger than that Bumblebee. More interesting things though, the one that got it right the first time, here's your G1 Roadbuster, about the same overall width. This poor guy has been played with like crazy when I was little, and it's all worn away, but he survived my childhood, so that's always a good thing, especially since he wasn't one of my more favorite characters, but he survived. I'm happy about that. So I like this. It may not show up here on video. I can't tell. The camera is not showing me. But this is a much deeper orange than this. This is more muted. Not muted. More bright, I guess. I don't even know if bright's the right word. It's like someone took the contrast and turned it up too much. And so it's kind of washed out, where this is the more vibrant, you know, orange, closer to what orange. This is almost more yellow. I guess that's the best way to really say it. Now, one thing, if I want to kind of nitpick here, and I don't mind the back treaded tires versus four wheels like the original Roadbuster had, but I kind of miss the little grenades and the gun on the side of the car. But hey, what can you do? Not much, right? There was a special edition Mugen caliber door vac that came out, and I bought it, and it was expensive, and I customized the crap out of it to turn it into the same colors as G1 Roadbuster. Really, this is the only way I think you're going to get an articulated, very G1 incarnation of Roadbuster, and I really can't say I recommend doing it because of the cost, but that is an option. And this guy's significantly heavier than the Fansproject dude. It does come with his little grenades and stuff. So the final thing that we're going to pull out here is, of course, steel core. And just to give you a size comparison, steel core is much smaller in his vehicle mode, about the same overall width. So yeah, and we'll pull out core here real quick. I've never done a review on steel core. If you guys want to see it, let me know. I'll get to one. I don't have his little green piece handy. I'd have to find that, but I'm sure that could be done. So anyway, here is our little steel core guy, and you can see just how different their heads are. I appreciate that little detailing. The much better crotch piece of steel core versus Revolver. And then you can just see like all the little details are a bit different. So I might as well go ahead and transform this guy. And he works exactly the same way as your steel core does. Just kind of fold them up into the little like engine looking thing. We'll do it for steel core here real quick too, just to show the differences, and then we can set them aside. And I'll also show, I'm going to show the transformation from robot mode, or vehicle mode to robot mode, and then at the end I'll show how to transform it back, because he does come packaged as a robot. So, but it's no fun to spoil the robot right in the beginning of the review. So there we go. Two very different looking engines, same overall size, so you could plug these in either one, but well, we'll get to that later. So to transform this guy, we're going to pull off his guns here, and one thing that I will note is that the holes that guns peg into are really tight on this guy, and mine probably are in need of sanding. Just places you can plug it in. This particular gun, I got stuck in the top of him for like 10 minutes earlier and couldn't get it out. Anyway, we'll come back to that later. You'll see the problems. We're going to disconnect these guns here and try to get him out of his fist, which is hard to do because of the way they sort of interconnect like that. Now these are pretty cool. These are considered ion pistols. They look like little SMGs to me. You can take them and you can kind of combine them. Flip this forward. You can combine it with his shoulder cannon, or you can actually combine it, whoops, if you have it the right way, with the blaster rifle. Or if you really want to, you can take all these and you can peg this together like that, and then still plug this in to make one gigantic gun. But unfortunately this one gun needs to be left out, so we'll show pictures of that at the end. So getting back to this guy, let's see if we can figure this out. So we're going to start by flipping these little pieces on down here. We will disconnect these little feet bits like this, and we'll come down to his feet. We can raise his crotch up. That's a good place to start. And we'll unfold his whole foot. Put the white pieces forward like so. Flip the treads to the side. Flip his foot down. And kind of doesn't have a heel that I really like, but he hasn't really fallen over, so I can't really complain about it too much at this point. But anyway, yeah, flip these on down, and then the next thing to do is to flip this whole thing on around to close off the front of his leg here. And these will peg in to place on the little tabs there. So that takes care of his feet. So we'll come around to the front of the car here, and we're going to flip this little green panel on in, and we'll rotate this around so it's on the other side here, and this is going to be his back. So we'll come back around to the top. We're going to open this piece on up, and then carefully, well, let's take these and get these out of the way. We'll flip these open, flip the windshield all the way around here so it's tucked in like that. That'll keep us from breaking it or anything. And then you want to split the front, which is a little bit tough, at least right now. I suspect that'll loosen up as it gets a little more used. But we'll fold this on down. We can now take his headpiece on down and lift his head, and what you want to do is come out from underneath here and push this little piece, And what that's going to do is slide this piece on up to fill in the chest. And then you can kind of peg the head in there really nicely. And we got a little bit of a spoiler on the face there, but that's okay. And we'll take this and we'll fold this on down. And now we just have to basically finish up the rest of the arms here. And that sometimes takes a little doing when you try to remember how it looks, but it's basically a lot of unfolding things. So we're going to just keep it so it's like this. We'll fold his arm out, we'll fold the tire in. So there we go, fold his arm out, fold the tire in. We will take this and kind of unfold it here and flip it on around to the right side. Flip the wrist forward like so. And these pieces are pretty cool, the way they kind of connect to the front here and then kind of fall down to just make like a shoulder pad type deal. I really find myself liking that. And we'll flip this up, flip this down, flip it around, flip his wrist. And I'm not a huge fan of these flaps because there's just not a whole bunch that you can do with them. You kind of take them and fold them up like this, but they just hang off the arm, so you can put them back or you can put them forward. I think personally putting them forward looks the best. So you pretty much got that done. Now all we're going to do is take this and fold this up. And this is where if you're going to stick in your core, you're going to do that now and have him plug, whoops, right into the back of Roadbuster here. If you can get him to slide in properly. And then all this stuff, oops, is going to fold in on top of him to kind of create a backpack here. Just like so. And that's how your core is used on this guy. So you can see he doesn't have any effect on the front of Roadbuster here. So we can then just take his weapons here and we'll just split these all apart again. And the pistols are designed to store right here, which can be a little bit tough to get in and out. And there are little pegs there to kind of hold things in place a little bit. And then the other one, of course, goes here on this side. And the only thing is about that is it does limit some backwards movement of the arm, but I guess that's okay. These ones here, these are where I had trouble. These just plug in right to the top here of these orange pieces, like this. And this one was really tough to get out, but it gives him his shoulder cannon. And you can plug this one in on the other side. And that one doesn't go down all the way as far as I can tell. Either that or the hole on mine is a little bit stuck. But yeah, he looks good. He's nice and big and bulky. Now they are coming out with a Rack and Ruin set, which will actually bulk him up even more, give him some really huge fists. I'm looking forward to that. And I think it does make a better car mode. My gripes about this are, well, your head is not entirely perfect, but it's close enough for Roadbuster. There is possibility that I might go ahead and paint my eyes green because the blue just doesn't work for me so much. Yeah, other than that, it's not bad. I think the chest could be a little bit bigger, but actually in hand, it's not as bothersome to me as it seems to look in pictures. I'm not entirely sure why that is. For articulation, let's take these guns off the back here. We got a really nice range of movement. You can of course get the 360, the in and out here, which is also aided by the transformation if you need to get any more out of it. A little hampered by some of the side bits here, but really not too bad. Nice elbow, just a 90-degree on a hinge. A nice fist swivel, which was a big problem with steel core. Though I do notice that a lot of times I get this kind of broken wrist thing going just because of how it transforms, but not that big of a deal. Nice waist rotation coming down to the legs here. Looks like it's on a ball joint. It's kind of hard to see. You are a bit limited in terms of the side to side based on just how this is all cut, but it does go all the way back and all the way forward, and yeah, that's not bad at all. Upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee for crazy posing if you want it that way. And then down to the foot here. The back part of the heel doesn't really do anything except this tilt like that, but the front is on a swivel, so you can get, you know, stances that maybe require the foot to be tilted a little bit. I feel very roadbuster type poses. In fact, let's give this guy some guns, because he needs some guns. And I think that looks really solid, even without utilizing the extra shoulder cannon bits in the guns. And I'm not going to put them in here. I already showed you how to put them together. I'll take some pictures with him using the other guns. So let's go ahead and put him to the side here. And let's do some size comparisons, starting out with the very classic Optimus Prime. And we'll bring over our bumper here. And I've got a slew of robots to show you guys. So you can see he's a bit taller than classic Optimus Prime, and definitely wider. So we can take these guys away. And for the next thing, let's bring out the Mugen caliber whatever door back thingy right here. And this is the one I custom painted, so definitely bigger. Not necessarily better colors. I like the colors of mine better. You know, I'm really kind of tempted to repaint the colors of this guy into these colors just because I like the darker hues. But yeah, not bad. I still like them. Let's also bring, while we have that, before we get to the main attraction, here is our G1 guy with all the pieces I can currently muster up for him. The rest are in a box somewhere. Missing a piece of hip armor, but I'm pretty sure I have that. So there we go. You can see G1 is taller, but obviously zero articulation. So Roadbuster is a wrecker. And what good is showing off a wrecker if we don't bring in some of the others? So here is your Hasbro Classics Springer. And while I like this Springer a lot, and I think it's one of the best things that Hasbro has done, especially considering that it's a Hasbro toy that I feel trumps the Fansproject version, he's a bit tall when compared to Roadbuster. I guess it's not horrible. It's totally an option. But, I don't know, I feel like Roadbuster should be one of the bigger guys here. So, at least for now, until my mind changes, I think our first Warbot Defender will still stay on my shelf, my classic shelf, because I do like that size difference. And of course with the little cheap Shapeways heels he doesn't fall over, but that's a whole nother conversation. So we'll put him like that. Let's bring out another one of his Warbot buddies, and here is the a little bit dusty. I really need to clean that shelf. So let's go out here and bring one of his other Warbot buddies, and this here is our broadside equivalent. I can't remember what his name was for the Warbot series. Obviously the biggest of the crew. We will bring out Steel Core here, who nice size between. And what are the wreckers without adding in our little demo crew guys here. And I think that looks good. And you know what? One more for fun, because he came from a different toy line too. Let's bring in the latest Whirl. And I think they all really look good together. I mean, that is a cool display of bots here. So one more thing I wanted to do before we start that transition back to the vehicle mode here is I wanted to exchange the cores here. And let's see if these guns cooperate. Whoa, that's really tight. This one's gotten a little looser over time. Yeah, not sure how I'm gonna fix that yet. But anyway, we'll take this, we'll rotate it on down, unplug his little core guy, and we'll take steel core out, or core from steel core, and we can plug him right into the back, and this can all fold closed just like it would if it was Roadbuster. A little bit different there, and obviously no aesthetic changes from the front. And we could take the Roadbuster plate and put that on steel core, which, I mean, it's something you can do. I don't think it necessarily looks good. I think the blue is better. I love steel core. If you don't have steel core because he's not a, official Transformer character, you are missing out, because this guy just has so much personality to him. I highly recommend getting him if you get a chance. So before we take him back to his vehicle mode, one thing I forgot to mention, his head is on a ball joint here, so you get some motion like that, but it's absolutely dreadful side to side because of the little box that it's in. I kind of wish a little bit more of this material was missing, or it slid forward or something, because Roadbuster really can't look left or right, which is a small problem, but a problem nonetheless. So to get this guy back to his vehicle mode, we're going to start by rotating his wrists around to the other side here. And then we're going to take this and flip this on up so it kind of touches that wheel. Rotate these around until that orange piece is kind of showing on the side here, like so. We're going to rotate this whole assembly around like this, and leave room underneath his armpit for the wheels there. And you should see that once we bring this up, that little tab on here should fit into the hole on there. So go ahead and do that, make sure it lines up, and bring it all the way up like this. One of the first steps we actually forgot is to take this and bring it all the way down, and these will tab together at the lower part down here, like so. And we have to remove our little core. So we got that. We can actually rotate his waist now and put it at the top. Disconnect his chest here and his head from that little chest piece, like that. Just push it down, make sure it's all the way down, and rotate his head on down like that. Alright, so once again I realized I was drifting off camera, so we're going to jump back to this step here. We should have something that looks kind of like this. What you're going to do now is take it and rotate these, and you can collapse all this in together like so. And you should see that the top little piece here has kind of like a protrusion, and that'll fit right into that little groove there. And this is where we need to make sure everything on the front is all lined up properly, so when he's holding his guns it doesn't look too super weird. So it should look something like that. We're going to take these little windshields, flip them 180 degrees, and then flip this thing closed like so. And hopefully, if everything is all together, we should be able to put the windshield together without it popping apart. Take the hood, rotate it all the way up here until it's in position. Flip this little tiny like seat thingy upwards just by grabbing it and flipping it up. It doesn't tab into anything as far as I see. And then flip the wheels so he's no longer like a hover car. We're going to take his two pistols here and connect them like this. You can see where they're mirror images. That'll allow them to connect like so, pretty solidly. And you can just plug those guns right into his hands here. And if you did it right, hopefully he should be holding the bumper in place pretty nicely. So now it's just a matter of coming down to his feet here and getting all this stuff worked out. So what we're going to start by doing is grabbing this here and flipping it all the way around like so on both sides. Flip it so that the white stripes face each other here. Flip the treads on in, flip the feet on in, and this is the Rodimus Prime issue that I was talking about. You have to make sure things are perfect, because this tab here is going to go into this here, and this may possibly be the hardest part on this, because you have to make sure that the hip is rotated just right, and then hopefully you can get this to peg on in, which I am not having luck doing that right now. And this side was much harder to do than the other side for some reason when I put this guy together the first time. The other side seemed to go in so much more smoothly. There we go. And once we have that, you should be able to plug the tip of the toe into the front of the car. There's little tabs on the toe here that plug in like that. So there's one side done. And we'll come back and we'll do it again for this side, hopefully with a little bit less issue. And the big thing is, if you're having trouble, just make sure that you've got this junction point on right, and the hip is kind of flexed outwards. And if you have that right, hopefully it should just kind of pop into place. Like so. We'll go ahead and connect the front toe to the vehicle here. Whoops. Messed up his gun bumper. Here we go. Try it again. Plug that on in like so. We should be plugged in the bottom. We are not. It came out. Yeah, really, these thigh connections are absolutely the hardest part on this toy. Just trying to get them to sit completely properly is an exercise in frustration. I'll give it that. There we go. Perfect, finally. Now we'll try to plug it back in again here. I like these guys. I like the engineering that goes into them. But sometimes the way these things interconnect is definitely not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to try to accomplish. I actually find Steel Core a little bit easier to transform than Roadbuster. He's not bad at all, but at least maybe it's just because I've had Steel Core longer that I can I find I can transform him a bit easier than Roadbuster. It's really getting all these little tabs to line up perfectly that you can get everything to peg in. You can see I'm having problems here with this side. And this is why I call it the Masterpiece Rodimus issue, because it's like some tiny little piece is just not sitting quite right, and it makes it not want to sit together. But finally, I think we've got it for the most part. It's hard to tell because he doesn't roll anyway. And you take these little green flaps and you just fold them up, and they are to kind of lock this whole thing into place as best as it can. I suppose you can leave this little windshield piece open. We'll get the core back, flip his head around, disconnect his legs, like so. Only articulation on this guy really, well, I mean besides ball jointed sockets, is those little elbows. We can take him and we can sit him right in there, which is definitely easier to do when the top is open. And just take this, fold this on down, and take his weapons, and if you want, you can stick them on top of the car. That's an option. Or you can do what the instructions say and stick them right in the sides. So this is T2RX6. There's a split windshield again. Fix that. There we go. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I do think he's a good toy. If you enjoyed Steel Core, I think you'll like this guy, and personally I think he's the best road buster that is available. I can't wait till we get Rack and Ruin so I can put this windshield nonsense away and just give him that front armored car look, because that looked really cool in my opinion. So this is T2RX6. I'll see you guys next week.